There are other people and other types that can understand us, but I think would be a lot better suited to really be in a relationship with us because of the fact of what we are good at and what we aren't. You're really limiting yourself on what else you could possibly learn from another person. Hey guys, if you are new here, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. That way you get all the new videos that I put out almost every single day. And let's get into this one. So, somebody recently asked me how I feel about INFJ relationships. So both of the people would be INFJs. I'm assuming this would be more of like a, do I think INFJ relationships are good? So you are probably wondering, do I even have any experience in this? And the honest answer is, yes, I do. The INFJ relationship is very interesting to me. INFJs, we get along to a certain extent, but I think that there are some fundamental differences, some deep-rooted differences to each and every single INFJ that is out there, that we don't communicate the same way a lot of the times. We have our own struggles within ourselves, just like everybody does, and there are just some things that, you either click on or you don't click on. So a lot of the times this can be either good or bad, but I ultimately believe that INFJs are not different enough to be able to complement each other. Complement with an LE. I don't remember what show that's from, or if it's from a show. But, so, like, to be able to supplement the other person's flaws and downfalls and things like that. I think some of the best relationships come from where my flaws are, my partner's strengths are, and where their flaws are, my strengths are. See what I mean? And it's like we're able to work together in a certain way that really does mesh well. Now again, this doesn't necessarily have to be INFJ and INFJ, because there are some INFJs that like to present themselves or be more ENFP-like in nature. So that is a relationship that I would see working out really well for a lot of INFJ relationships. But at the same time, there are exceptions to that rule, and there are people who do make it work. I've seen INFJs who are good with ESTPs, which I seriously would not see as a thing. So I think those are the two that I don't understand as well, personally. But again, that doesn't go with every single one of like the people that are that type specifically. It's just what I've seen from my personal experience. I have actually met, I think, 2 or 3 INFJs, I think it's 2 INFJs in my lifetime, and I am good friends with one of them, and then the other one I actually dated. So we weren't fully in a relationship, but we were dating for probably about a year, and so I do have a lot of experience on the topic itself. So an INFJ relationship really fundamentally is very intriguing, very interesting. You both can sit and talk for hours and hours and hours. You can understand more so why the other person feels the way that they do. But at the same time, think about when you're not in touch with your feelings. That is going to send a distress signal to your INFJ partner because they feel your feelings and you feel theirs, and that's just how it kind of works with us. So when we pick up their feelings and they pick up ours, it could be a lot of miscommunication in that area alone. Plus the fact that a lot of INFJs don't really know what's going on the inside, so it's hard to navigate that, and it's hard to help the other person through it when they don't even know. But again, as an INFJ, you could, be able to think about it a lot and kind of talk with them about it and help them pinpoint what is wrong. But there's also a deep point that INFJs do not like to be told how they are feeling. So it's just, I see very tense areas coming through this, but I also see a very good relationship when it's in good standing. So another thing that I think about INFJ relationships is that, you know, on the same token as when I was first saying that you don't really complement each other in the strengths and weaknesses. So this could possibly lead to a downward spiral, like if one of you is very depressed about something and then that in turn would bring the other one down, and you know, like you both start, just say in the middle, like you could be up here, you could be down low, whatever, but you start in the middle and then you're just constantly like one's going down and the other one's going down, and you could end up being in this spiral. Now again, this isn't only with INFJ relationships, but I do see it being more likely just because of the fact of how our personalities are and how we like to think and how we just we're more prone to the overthinking, the feedback loop that we get caught in with our self-doubt and our emotions and things like that. So it definitely does have the potential of getting bad, but again, it has the potential of being good. So my personal experience with this was that we were able to talk, like I said, for hours. We were able to completely get each other on that basis, but neither of us were ready to really move forward in who we are. Actually, no, that's a lie. I was ready to move forward with who I am. This was when I was at the beginning of my my journey, my self-development journey, and how I got from where I was, being very depressed, overthinking everything, worrying about what people thought of me, worrying about whether or not I was good enough, and just so many other different bad things of how my life was just built, I guess. So I was going through all of that, and I was ready to finally get done with that. I was ready to move on. I was ready to get through it and finally get rid of all of that. So I was trying to move forward. He, on the other hand, was not ready for it. He knew what was wrong, and he did realize, you know, why he was still stuck in the ways that he was, and all of the things about that, but he never wanted to do anything about it. And that was something that I really I couldn't see myself with, because of the fact that I care so much about my own personal development, which in turn is going to help somebody else's development, like you that you are watching this video. I want to be able to be like somebody that's an inspiration and the reason of why somebody else started turning their life for the better. That is really what I would like to do. So since I want to do that, that is kind of how I act to my friends and to my family and to whoever it is, because that's what I want to do. It is who I am now, and it is who I have grown myself into because it means so much to me for all these different reasons. So since he was stuck in not being able to move on and not being able to move forward and not really even being, you know, able to kind of talk about it or even think about it. I mean, he really didn't want to believe a lot of the things that were going on. He didn't want to believe that it could get better. He was stuck in denial. He was stuck in overthinking. He was stuck in the patterns that he had set from who knows how long. And I'm not saying that it's easy to get through any of these things, but what I'm saying is that I need somebody who is willing to at least try. So for INFJ relationships, I think it could work for some people. For me, it hasn't, and I really don't see it working out for me, again, because of the whole strengths and weaknesses thing and really being able to search more on a deeper level. And also with searching different things, it's like you need, as an INFJ, you are going to need somebody to help you along the way. As much as we don't always want to admit that, there are definitely times when I feel like I can barely even take care of myself. Like, as an INFJ, I get so stuck in my head that I forget about everything else going on in life. I am the most unobservant, observant person ever. I think I've said that before, but I'm the most unobservant, observant person ever. I will forget to eat. I will forget to drink. I will forget to go to the bathroom. Literally these basic needs, things that I need to actually happen in my life, that is what I need. I need somebody who is able to be there to do that for me, or who can at least help remind me to do that as well. So that is something that I personally need, and something that I personally think that all INFJs need. So I tend to find that it doesn't even have to be like a sensing type. It just has to be somebody who is based more in reality than in, dreamland, which dreamland isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's just that we are always constantly up in the clouds at the same time that our feet are on the ground. So that is also something that I feel about it. The same thing with one of my best friends is an ENFP. We communicate very, 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 very well. She understands what I'm saying it as I'm saying it, and she can follow along with what I'm saying. But she also does point out to me that I go on tangents and I get off into these weird random things that, have nothing whatsoever to do with the original topic, but she can still understand it. I personally think that INFJ and ENFP relationships would work really, really well. But it also depends on their individual self-sufficiency too. And that's a whole different video in and of itself. I'm not going to talk about that anymore right now, but there are other people and other types that can understand us, but I think would be a lot better suited to really be in a relationship with us because of the fact of what we are good at and what we aren't. And that doesn't mean that we have bad and negative aspects. That just means that we aren't necessarily, able to do certain things, and that's okay. Everybody has their own strengths and weaknesses. It's just being able to be comfortable with your own strengths and your weaknesses, and being able to deal with that on your own. And then also, if you have somebody with you that is able to help you with that, that's great. But I personally don't think that that's an INFJ relationship type thing. Again, this is not, this is just my opinion. This isn't necessarily the rule, and there are always exceptions to the rule. So there could be somebody out there that's an INFJ, if you're an INFJ, that you guys really could work. But also think about the fact of how rare we are. If we were to only be able to work with another INFJ, I really don't think we would be in that many relationships. And I feel like only holding out for another INFJ, you're really limiting yourself on what else you could possibly learn from another person. There could be things that you never thought about. I actually dated an ESTJ, and they are not really my favorite people, but just because of the way that they're so, I want to say, brash in the way that they come across. They're not as sensitive. We'll go with that. They're not as sensitive to certain things, but we were able to get along on certain situations as well. So, it really just depends on the people, and it really just depends on what you're looking for and what your strengths and weaknesses are. So I think the best thing to look at is, what are your strengths? What do you have to bring to somebody else? And what are your weaknesses? What are you actually looking for? Because like I said, one of my weaknesses is actual literal things. And I can sit around talking, not necessarily talking, but I can sit around thinking and doing things on a deeper level 24/7. I can't always be going out and doing other things. It's just not possible for me. I would get so drained so easily. But somebody has to. You know what I mean? Hopefully that made sense, and hopefully I didn't fully ramble for ever. So if you had any other questions like this, please let me know, and also let me know if I did clear up what I mean by this, and if you had another specific question that you wanted me to answer about the INFJ relationship and what I personally think about it. So leave all those comments below, and I will see you in the next video.